and it's very simple. You see it right there in the screen, and it's the reading of the ordinance 04-2022. After that adjournment happens, we are going to be jumping. We are going to be jumping to the hearing. Okay, so if anybody's here for the hearing, we'll be doing that right after. Okay, and thank you for joining us on an extra Tuesday. Thank you, staff, as well, for putting this together.
Thank you, Mayor.
Mommy, I said speak mode.
Let me call, I'll call the meeting to order so we could at least move forward to reading the agenda as we wait for Jared. Okay. So calling the virtual work session of Mayor and Council to order. This is the agenda for the budget work session on this April 26, 2022, 7:01. To order, Jimmy Tarlow.
Review of agenda. So this is call to order, review of agenda.
Present.
Present. I'm sorry. Present.
Luke Chesick.
Present.
Okay. I don't see Jared. So once he joins us, we'll call in, and I'm present. So we have quorum to start reading it. So Jimmy, go ahead and read. Go ahead, read the agenda.
You want something to drink, Tommy?
I know.
Order,
We're trying
order,
to
review of agenda, reading of ordinance number 04-2022, an ordinance establishing the tax rate, adopting an annual budget, and appropriating funds for fiscal year 2023, beginning July 1st, 2022, and ending June 30th, 2023.
Okay, thank you so much, Jimmy, and Councilmember Jared. The best part, right? Councilmember Jared Stuffus is here with us as well. Okay, so we have the full team, and I see Valerie has also joined us in the call virtually. Hey, Valerie. So the agenda has been reviewed. Council, any additions, subtractions to this work session agenda? Hearing none, this agenda will be approved as presented. So moving on to item number 3, reading of the ordinance number 04-2022, an ordinance establishing the tax rate, adopting an annual budget, and appropriating funds for fiscal year 2023, beginning July 1st, 2022, and ending June 30, 2023. The Mayor and Council will have a reading of ordinance number 04-2022. Per council rules, if we move a severe amount of money from one to the other, we need to have a reading. So there, we're 7 days apart. So today's Tuesday. Our next meeting next Wednesday. So that's plenty of time. And the last meeting we discussed budget changes was 7 days ago. So that way we're in good position. So Mr. Kamali, I'm gonna cede the floor to you.
Okay.
To read through this. And I will say there basically what has changed in this, so you don't have to read the whole entire thing.
Yes.
Basically the overall welcome that has changed to this, it is the proposed, you see it right there. And there you go, thank you. The section 1 for the tax rates real property, the tax rate for all
Yes.
single-family residential real property will be changed from 0.76 per 100 square facade value for fiscal 2023, beginning July 1st. For the townhomes, it would change as well to 0.76 per 100 square facades value for fiscal year 2023, beginning July 1st. Multifamily homes residentials will stay the same at 86 cents. Commercial real estate property at 79 cents will stay the same. Industrial real property at 79 will stay the same. Vacant property real tax will stay the same, and that is $2.50 per 100 square feet of excess value for fiscal year 2023. Business personal property, 99 cents per 100 square footage, and operating railroad and public utilities, $2.75 per 100 square footage of assessed value. Switch it to the next page. Okay, so Mr. Kamali, I gave you a lead away. So Mr. Kamali will review the numbers that were changed. The titles next to it remain the same, but this
All right.
is on the agreement that council reached to reduce taxes to 3 cents per 100 square footage. So it went down from 79 to 76 in the two items that I mentioned. So Mr. Kamali, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So after changing the tax rate to 0.79, now we have the new numbers based on the 3 cents reduction. So Section 4, General Fund Revenues. The following amounts shall be adopted and appropriated as the general fund budget for all revenue for fiscal year 2023, beginning July 1st, 2022, and ending June 30th, 2023. So what we have for the new fiscal FY23, the tax revenue is going to be $5,917,495.80. License and the permits is going to be $712,100. Intergovernmental revenue will be $369,603.40. Charges and the services, for services is going to be $24,500. Fines and forfeitures is going to be $785,400. Miscellaneous revenue is going to be $28,500. And we have grants, including ARPA money and other grants, which is going to be a total of $3,551,940.67. So the total budget revenue for FY23, including the grants, is going to be $11,389,539.87. Then we go to Section 5, which is the general fund expenditure categories. So I'm gonna just read each category for you. So wages and the leave pay is gonna be $3,238,173.36. Employee benefits and the services is gonna be $1,760,318.76. Material and supplies, $284,700, and then professional service repair and maintenance is going to be, $135,000. Professional services is going to be $610,310. Other service and charges will be $427,334. Community activities will be $152,300. Infrastructure facility maintenance, $874,300. The next is going to be capital outlay or capital project, which is going to be $50,000. This one is for the spring park, the matching fund. All right, debt services is going to be $136,728. Grant expenses will be $3,551,940.67. The total budget expenditures for FY '23 will be $11,221,104.78. Then we go to section 6, which is going to be the general fund expenditure categories by each department. So we have the city government, which will be $87,450. City Hall is going to be $3,829,243.30. Department of Administrative Services, $628,616.37. Public Works will be Police Department, it's going to be $3,228,058.45. Public Works will be $2,354,080.45. And then the next one is going to be Department of the Code Compliance, $410,077.55. Next is going to be Economic Development, $496,850.67. Then we have the Debt Services, which is going to be $136,728. Contingency will be $50,000. The total budget for the entire department will be $11,221,104.78. And then we go to total full-time equivalent employees for each department. So in FY '23, we're going to have a general government. It's going to be 5. Administrative services will be 5. Economic development will be 1. Police department 23. Code compliance 4. Public works 10. And the total will be 48, which we are having 2 more full-time employees than last year. One of them is the code compliance, because last year we didn't have the code compliance. And the other one was extra police officer. And that's it. If you have any question.
Thank you, Mr. Kamali. Right now, I'm gonna open up the floor to council members. So I will start with Jimmy, Luke, Jared.
I have nothing to add.
Thank you, Jimmy. Luke?
Appreciate all the work Mr. Kamali putting into this. This is another year where we're going to reduce the tax rate, this time by 3 cents per $100 of assessed value. Some folks aren't going to, some folks are going to experience a reduction in what their taxes are. Other folks, if their assessment went up more than what the 3 cent reduction will bring, you may not see that much or any sort of reduction in your tax rate. But it's our goal as a body to always try and keep the tax rate lowered as you're facing larger and larger assessments on your property value. And so this is now the 5th year in a row we've done this. This year is a bigger one than we normally do. This is a 3 cent reduction, and hopefully it provides residents a little bit of relief. Thanks.
Luke, when 5 years ago when we started this, what was the tax break when we and you started?
When we started, the tax rate was at 93 cents per $100 of assessed value. So we're going to now bring it down, quite a bit, more than. Geez, I can't do math.
Yeah, it's quite a bit. So you will see some So based on what you will have paid, if we had not changed it, you will see some projected reduction. Maybe not as maybe an increase from what you paid last year, but definitely a decrease from what you will have paid had it stayed 3 more cents. Jared?
Yep. I won't repeat all the things that Luke just said. Explaining it to any folks on the call, but just wanted to, say I'm happy to continue the direction that started with Luke and Selena on continuing to reduce the tax rate here in town. So, and I just wanted to also make the note for anyone that's tuning in for the first time, our budget may look bigger this year than previous years. I think there's some folks that haven't normally been on. That's part of that extra allocation is due to the American Rescue Plan funds that we, us and other municipalities and all over the country received as kind of a one-time capital infusion as part of the American Rescue Plan. And it is limited to certain uses, including economic recovery and social support related to COVID and stormwater management. So, we've, most of you, pretty much everyone should know, the council gone through an ARP programming process with lots of public feedback during council meetings and other events on this, but just wanted to clarify if you're seeing that, that is what that is. So, thank you.
Thank you so much. And the other thing to point out is the proposed tax year is getting closer and closer to the constant tax rate of the 74 per 100 square foot for this year. So we have even gotten closer than we were at one point. So that's definitely something to point out. Mr. Kamali, I only have one question that I wasn't sure if I asked previously. The 2,500 for the youth council, is it already part of this one or no?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Perfect.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kamali, for that. I would say thank you. I know this is your first budget as a city manager. I know it took a lot of work. When you got here, our finance department was definitely in a different position than it is now. And we have been able to get the audits done. And this is part of the process of making sure that the vision for our finance department and the city as a whole it's there, right? Trying to get the budget as, where we need to be, trying to make sure our audits where they need to be, to make sure we continue to not just be transparent, but also make sure we move the process along to make sure we account for the various things. The other thing you will see, there's been an increase also on community services. So a big chunk of our budget also goes, part of the budget also goes to the committees for the city. And there are various committees, and not all of it's reflected in the line because the 80,000 for trees falls under public works, but that also is definitely to take care of our trees. And our tree commission, our green teams are very active members of this. So, we're seeing even an increase more on community services than we have in other previous years as well. Okay. So thank you, team, as well, because you managed to get us to where we need to be. And if nothing moves from this budget on May 4, we should be able to vote on this ordinance. Mr. Kamali, you have a question?
Yeah, I just want to say that, to mayor and council and the resident of the community, it's not me, it's my team. It's a teamwork, and I appreciate my team and mayor and council to give me that support and be able to come up with this budget this year. But next year we're gonna be presenting a better budget to mayor and council, definitely.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Kamali. One of the things that I had worked, and I had discussed even when I was a council member, is to make sure that we carry the previous budgets on the budget, so that way we were aware of what's happening. One of the things that I've requested for Mr. Kamali, the new task for the future budget, is so that we could also project ahead of us what it looks like for the next 3 years. So that way, as a city, we know how healthy our economy is, our finances, and that we could better plan for short and long term, see where we have been, where we're at, and where we're going. And so I feel like that would be a way for us to be able to manage our funds, and not in a simple 1 year bubble, but actually projecting years in front of it, and then eventually get to 5 years from, 5 years behind in the current year, so that we have a better look of what it looks like, and be able to provide this information to our residents. So I thank you for that. I know it was definitely it's a challenge for any city manager to take, especially somebody that comes in after, not having a full year, right? So you rise to the occasion. I appreciate that very much for you and your whole entire team. Okay, so I will be opening up to the community. If you would like to speak, please put your name on the chat, your block, your block number. So in my case, it would be 3700 block of the 37 block, and my name, right? You have 3 minutes to speak on this item and this item alone. Please be respectful that when we ask for time to be done, that you quickly wrap up your last few words, because it allows us to be able to have more speakers to be able to speak. Okay, so we have various members of the community here, and if somebody would like to speak, please type your name in the chat. Team, is there anybody on Facebook that has any comment?
No comments on Facebook.
Thank you so much, Jared, with the A. Okay, members of the committee are here. Nobody? Going once, going twice. All right, perfect. Thank you so much. So, Mr. Kamali, this document is ready to be put in our legislative meeting for the 4th in order for council to decide to vote on it. So it is a voting item. Okay.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Thank you.
Okay. Perfect. Council, can I have a motion to adjourn?
That moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been probably moved in
Oh, I'm
second.
sorry. Sorry,
There's a
community member
motion.
here.
Sorry. Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on 1 second. When there's a motion in the floor, it goes for vote. So give me 1 second to make sure.
I'll withdraw the motion. I'm going to withdraw the motion.
Hold on. So I will say, how do you call it? So I am asking for the council members at this point to withdraw their motion, so that way we could open it up for discussion. Or vote on it, you open up for discussion. It's not a problem either way.
I withdraw the motion.
Luke?
I withdraw the second.
Thank you so much. And I apologize. I want to make sure we do the things we need to do to make sure we are compliant when it comes to passing the vote. The community member that spoke, can you identify your first, last name, street, address, and block?
Oh, sure. My name is Chris Gordon, and I'm on 36th Street, 4013.
All right. Go ahead. You have 3 minutes to speak.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I may have misunderstood, but I just wanted to make sure the meeting in total was not adjourned before. I know there's some motions about 36th Street that are supposed to be discussed tonight, so I want to make sure those get discussed. Namely a speed bump and residential parking.
So Chris, this one is just for the meeting for the budget. Actually, we were adjourning to go into the hearing. The portion that you're asking.
Okay, my apologies. I only caught the meeting adjourned portion, so I wanted to make sure that.
No, this is just for work session.
Excellent. Okay, my apologies for holding things up. I just wanted to make sure our issues also got discussed.
No problem. We decided to do them in the same number of the lines so that we also get to hear our budget at the same time as a plus, and then we get the hearing going. Okay.
Of course, I understand.
So we tackle both birds with one stone. All right. So
all right,
okay.
Excellent.
So,
thank you, Mayor. All right.
No
I'm sorry
problem.
about that. Yep.
Okay, so council members, moving on to item number 4, adjournment. Do I have a motion on the floor?
No, sorry. I saw a question from Clifton Langdon in the chat. Did he want to speak?
So hold on 1 second. Cliff, hello.
Okay. Sorry.
Hi, Cliff, was your question? You said the proposals for 79. I thought I had answered. My apologies. The proposals for 0.7749 cents per 100 square. How much does this change for the current rate? The current rate is actually 79 cents for homes and townhomes. That's the one we're proposing. We're proposing to change it to 76. Okay. I hope that answered your question. Cliff, do you want to speak? Cliff, do you want to speak, or did that cover your question?
If you're speaking, you're muted, Clifton.
Yeah. Or you could type it in the chat and it covered. Okay, it got covered. Thank you, Cliff. So I will specifically ask people, I know this is your first time, let us know that you want to speak. If you want us just to read the comment, we just read it, or if that answer the question, should be able to answer the question. All right. So, and for the newer person to this meeting, what you see in front of you is the agenda for the meeting. So we try to separate them in blocks so that way we do not, run them two together. Okay. So members, so I'll do this. Members of the community, does anybody has any comments regarding to the budget for this agenda, not for the hearing? Going once, going twice. All right. Perfect. So council members, do I have a motion on the floor to adjourn the budget hearing?
So moved.
The budget hearing, I'm sorry, the work session. So moved. Thank you. Any seconds?
Seconded.
Any objections? Abstentions? Hearing that there's none, this meeting has come to a unanimous end. Thank you for being part of our virtual work session. This is a budget work session. Thank you so much. Moving on to the next meeting that I assume most people are here for. The agenda for the public hearing regarding traffic calming devices and zone residential parking. The city of Rainier, this Tuesday, April 26, 2022, following the budget work session. So we just ended the budget work session. So I will call this meeting to an order. Jerry Stoffes.
Here.
Jimmy Tarlow.
Here.
Luke Chesek.
Here.
Okay, and I'm here. So we have a full quorum at this point. Moving on to item number 2, review of the agenda. Vice Mayor, can you please read the agenda?
1, call to order. 2, review of agenda. 3, traffic calming devices and zone residential parking. 4,000 block of 36th Street, 31st and Taylor, 34 block of Newton Street, 4,000 block of 30th Street, zone residential parking for 4,000 block of 36th Street, 3,233 blocks of Perry Street for adjournment.
Thank you so much. And I saw a message from Councilmember Stoffes about apologies about the whole procedure. It's one of those things that with the budget, if we do not follow the proper procedure, it gets sent back to us. And if it's not approved by June 30, we don't have a budget to run the city. Okay, so we're moving on to council members. Any additions, subtractions, comments about the agenda? If not, would it be approved as presented? Okay, I'm hearing none, so I'm going to move on to item number 3. Traffic calming devices and zone residential parking. The mayor and council will discuss and have a public hearing on traffic calming devices for 400 block of 36th Street, 31st Street and Taylor, 400 block of Newton Street, 400 block of 30th Street, followed by the zone residential parking request for 400,000 block of 36th Street, 3,200 and 3,300 blocks of Perry Street. So that's what's going to be addressed. And the way we're going to do it is like we're going to just go in the order that's listed right here so that way we could keep a record of it. The other thing is for the residents that are here for this specific hearing, right? You have 3 minutes to speak individually. If you happen to be part of an organization in a group, you let us know, and if you're the representative for that organization. But that also will mean that any of your members do not get to speak because you're speaking that 5 minutes on behalf of them. The other thing, this is not going to be it's not a discussion per se. We literally just hear what you guys have to say. And so don't feel frustrated if we're not going back and forward with you guys, because the idea of this is like to listen to your comments when it comes to the various blocks that are listed here. Okay. And if that's understood, there is a chat. If you are virtually, please type your name on the chat. Oof. Please type your name on the chat, first, last name, your block number and your house, like, well, give you an example. I'm 3700, 37 block of 37. So you don't have to say 3701, 2, 3, or 4. Just do it by the 300,000s, right? All right. So that way you get to speak. I am asking right now for If you have, let me look, sorry, my agenda moved. If you have any comments regarding the 4400 block of 36th Street, please sign up to speak. And if you're over the phone, once I get the chat comments, I will come to you because I believe there's at least one person over the phone. Okay? So, and then I'll give you the mic so that way we're a little bit organized, okay? 3 minutes and, you know, yes, so I'll call you guys one at a time.
How do
All
you
right,
type in your name?
If you're virtually, you type your name. And if you're on the phone, I will call you once I address. So after I call everybody that's here to speak on behalf of 400 block of 36th Street, then I'll let people know if they're on the phone on it. So if you have the chat, you should be able to like type it on the chat.
No, I'm
So
on the
there's like
phone.
3 little dots. If there are 3 little dots, press the 3 little dots, type the, you know, press the chat, and then I'll give you access to chat. If you can do it like after I call the people in the chat, I'll call on you, okay?
Okay.
All right, so we are going with 400,000 block of 36th Street. And if you guys would like to speak on the other ones, go ahead and, you know, I don't want to call one by one. Okay, let me see. So Emerson LaJoy, 3100 Taylor Street, the floor is yours.
Hi all. Hopefully I'm coming through.
Yes.
You're coming through loud and clear. Hi, Emerson.
Thank you. It's great to see everyone. I just want to thank all our council persons for putting this together and rolling with this. I have been living at the intersection of 31st and Taylor for nearly 10 years. I regularly watch during the morning rush hour and the evening rush hour. Cars zip through the intersection at rapid speeds that feel unsafe. And I know that we have growing bases of children and pets that wander out into the intersection. It generally feels unsafe for folks to move that fast through the intersection. So we're part of the advocacy for traffic calming at this place. I speak for other members of 31st Street who, especially those who live in front of the food forest, known as the food forest. It's a pocket park on 31st Street, colloquially referred to as the food forest, that also see folks zipping back and forth. And there's a lot of, young people activity there at the food forest. So we're advocating for calming devices. We submitted a petition. We actually solicited signatures up and down both blocks, submitted those to the city, and they were unfortunately lost. My counterpart in this, Megan Nortrup, has sent a more detailed email on this experience to both Luke and the mayor. Some of those details are a little bit off, but all that to say that generally the message is out there that we're looking for this. This is important to us, and we'd like to see a solution on that. I don't know where my time is on that, but I understand that there's not an iteration here. Thank you for hearing me on this. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Melissa, our clerk, will go ahead and put in the chat if you're like down to your 30 minutes. So that way you more or less know. I know 3 minutes, some people think it's little, and then you start talking, you go like, I feel like I've been talking for 20. I'm like, that's what we did it for 3. So that way we reduce how many time, and it has helped reduce how many time we cut people off, right? Because they keep talking, go, wait a minute. Okay, I'm done. But like, so it has helped us a lot. All right, thank you so much, Emerson. All right, so moving on, and you guys, the way.
May I have one question?
Hold on, Jimmy. So if there's any of the streets you need to address, just like name them in your 3 minutes, so that way you don't have to like talk in every single one slot. So if you're like sign up on it, just let us know what street you want to speak on. If it's multiple, just say the multiple ones and address it. So that way we're not going back 3 and 3 and 3 minutes for it, because I think some of the concerns are very much alike that you share. Jimmy, what's your question?
So and this is maybe for Luke and for Emerson, the request was a corner. Most of the traffic calming like in the middle of a street. So I'm just questioning what is actually the request, what would people like to do? Because that's a stop sign there. So you're talking about like a traffic calming on the 3000 block of Taylor on 31st Street. So what is actually the request?
I think the request was for speed humps near the food forest. And I'm not sure where the original request was for, if there was another place on 31st or a place on Taylor. I'm not exactly sure. But maybe others who are here for this point can highlight where exactly they wanted the speed calming devices.
I would say, Council, if you guys could make side notes and stuff like that, if you need to address a question, like that way we could give them also time to speak, because some of them might be speaking, and be aware that if you guys say you guys are speaking for the whole block, then that block will not be speaking. It's just you. But so we will have to work on those details. Emerson said the actual request was more from the corner, but the original request was lost is from the food forest and up and down the block closer to the 5-way intersection. Thank you. Thank you, Emerson. And okay, perfect. All right. Next I have Sarah, 4000 block of 36th Street, followed by Alex. Go ahead. Sarah, the mic is yours.
Thank you. I'm Sarah Lipsy, 4000 block of 36th Street with my wife, Marie Lawson. We have witnessed over the years that we've been living here, people attaining pretty high rates of speed on 36th Street, despite it being bookended by 2 T intersections. I'm not sure how they get up to the speeds that they do, but we have witnessed a decent amount of unsafe driving and think that traffic calming devices would be really helpful on this block of 36th Street. In addition, at one end of 36th Street, the Shepherd Street end, is a bus stop for PG County schools. And we have seen cars traveling at dangerous rates of speed with the school children waiting before and after school. So we definitely would agree that it's very needed on this block. And I think that's it for me.
You're like, let me see, I have a few more minutes. All right, thank you.
I can fill it in one more thing probably, but I think that's adequate.
All right, thank you so much, Sarah, for your feedback. Alex, 4000 block of 36th Street. Hello, Alex, and followed by Matt. Go ahead, the floor is yours, Alex.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So I'll just say that I live on the 4000 block of 36th Street also, and I believe we have a higher volume of traffic on our little side street than many of the other side streets do in Mount Rainier, because we have an apartment building on the 4000 block of 36th Street that gets a considerable amount of car traffic. So we just have a lot more cars going down our small street than I think go down many of the others. Now that said, a lot of the cars that go down our street do go really fast and drive, relatively unsafely. And we've had a number of crashes of cars where cars on our street have been sideswiped, had their mirrors ripped off in recent years. And so this is a big concern. There are also a lot of young kids living on the street now. And so we'd really ask for some speed bumps on the street to slow traffic down. There's a bus stop on one end of the street, as Sarah just said, where kids gather before and after school and they play ball on the street and cars zoom down, and it's over a hill. So it's somewhat of a blind intersection. Now, on the other side of the street at 36th and Bunker Hill, there's no stop signs on Bunker Hill for the cross traffic. And so it's very hard to turn out of 36th Street. There's very poor visibility with the cars going back and forth across Bunker Hill. So we also ask for a stop sign on Bunker Hill at the 36th Street intersection, as well as crosswalks at that intersection to facilitate getting across Bunker Hill at the end of 36th Street and to help cut down on traffic speeds and traffic volumes. So thank you again.
Thank you so much, Alex. All right, let me see. Matt, the floor is yours.
Evening, Mayor, Council. Thanks for having me. For the sake of time, I will just echo what Emerson mentioned in her comments, because we have the same perspective and are both at 3100 Taylor Street. We've been here for about 10 years and noticed an increase in speed and running the stop signs at 31st and Taylor. Naturally, we're concerned about the children in the neighborhood and pets. Naturally, people roll through the stop signs. What concerns us the most is the full rate of speed or accelerating through the stop signs, which happens during morning rush hour, evening rush hour, and in after dark as well. So last summer, we did the petition and collected signatures from the vast majority of residents, stretching one block in each direction from the corner of 31st and Taylor. During that process, we heard from neighbors that they also preferred a some traffic calming, a speed hump specifically at 31st across from the Pocket Park, the food forest. And we're in full support of that. I noticed that was missing or lacking from the flyer that got distributed. But the signatures we collected and the petition that we turned in, which was subsequently, I think, misplaced by the city, did account for signatures and residents up and down 31st for speed hump at the food forest location as well. But for 31st and Taylor, we were most interested in, just to address the earlier question, speed humps at the intersection. That will slow down the traffic of the folks who are cruising through without slowing down or even accelerating. As you move north down 31st Street, you're going downhill, and we notice some vehicles accelerate as they move through the intersection. And we think speed humps would resolve that. Lastly, if there's any citywide effort forward-looking at traffic calming and strategies citywide, we're in full support of that. But we've been very eager for the last couple of years to get traffic calming specifically at 31st and Taylor based on our observations. And we were very optimistic last summer that we had the signatures on the petition to make that happen. I understand the budget wasn't there at the time. Appreciate you taking it into consideration now. And if we need to collect signatures again, please let us know. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I will tell you guys something. I would like to apologize on behalf of the city. You know, we have had a bit of like turnover with the staff, right? So we are trying to get things right? So we ask for you guys to be patient with us as we maneuver this procedure. And that's the reason why we're all here, right? To make sure we got all the signatures, whether they were missing or not. We put them in to our best of our abilities, we were able to put them in the document, right? So at least there was a chance to hear you guys out and then figure out where the loopholes or errors happen, and then move forward from there. Okay, so I definitely would like to apologize on behalf of the city and just ask for you guys to be patient with us as we maneuver this and work on trying, to get to hear everybody that's on. So let me ask you something for both of you guys, right? So the one that we're missing is that for the 31st Street and Taylor, we're missing a part of it. Is it the 3200 block of Taylor? Is that the one that we're missing? That could be for either Matt or Emerson, if you guys could give me that answer.
I think it was, Mayor, this is Luke. I think it was
Okay.
one petition requesting traffic calming devices at the intersection and traffic calming devices at the food forest on 31st Street. But Matt or Emerson, please correct me if that's incorrect.
Yep, that's correct.
Correct. I'll just add that Megan Northrop also communicated with folks on the 4300 block of 31st Street. So basically that section between the food forest and the 5-way intersection, that includes Upshur. There was an interest in having a speed hump further, what I'm calling further up, but technically it's further north.
So we will work on that, and we'll try to put another hearing just for that specifically area, right? Either on our meeting on the 4th or following our work on our work session, so that way we could get all of you guys we could get all of us in the same page. Okay. So I will reach out. If you send the email, I was flipping through it and I just saw Megan's. I need to go right through it and figure out what it is, so that way we could add it to another hearing. Okay. Shortly. So that way they're all bulked together. Okay. All right. So moving on to the next person, Mona, for 400,000 block of 36th Street. The floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. I'm sorry my camera's off. It's just because I have a toddler and he's still running around. But I am from the 4,000 block of 36th Street, like my neighbors, Sarah and Alex. And I echo everything that they say. And I think the fact that we can all agree that all the things that have been mentioned so far continue to be issues is telling. I too want to advocate for some calming measures, specifically on our street and at the intersection of 36th and Bunker Hill. I have seen cars, FedEx trucks, PG County, PGPS school buses zooming down our street, which I don't even understand how they can go so fast, given that they have to turn in order to get onto our street. It's continuously an issue. I can hear them zooming down. I like jump to the window and see it, and it's unbelievable. And it happens nearly every single day. So I'm certainly asking for that. I have personally, unfortunately, had to yell at people on Bunker Hill and 36, and actually between 34th and 38th Street, because they're just blowing through stop signs. They're zooming down the street. And these are, again, not only just regular sized cars, these are trucks and large vehicles that could seriously do some damage if they were to hit someone. And it sounds, based on Alex's comments, that they have actually been hitting at least other cars. And then I guess the other part I want to ask about is on Bunker Hill, like I think across the 30s and Bunker Hill, we just see people blowing stop signs. So I'm wondering if there's a possibility to do something to emphasize the fact that those stop signs are there. I've seen in other cities where they have solar lights, they have other things that can emphasize the fact that there's a stop sign there. So I'm asking that we at least try those as a minimal measure. I think we need much more than just that, but like, let's get started somewhere. And I just want to ask everyone, are we waiting for a kid to get seriously injured or killed to move on this matter? I understand that there are a lot of things, there's a lot of turnover, but this is a matter of life and death, literally. So I'm really hoping that we can move on this. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you so much, Mona and Catherine. I apologize. I guess when I moved the scroller, like I missed you, but Catherine Kuller, 300 block of Taylor Street. The floor is yours.
Hey, no worries. I just called in to support the traffic calming at 31st and Taylor. Go traffic calming.
She's like, go. Good job. Thank you so much. Okay, so let me see who else I have in the list. And let me see. Okay, I got the first round, then it was okay. Then I have Chris Gordon of 400,000 block of 36th Street. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I could hear you now.
Excellent. I would just like to follow Mona and Alex and Sarah for the 400,000 block and say there's a lot of kids on this block, so we do see a lot of cars speeding through very rapidly. So it would be excellent if we could get that curbed with a speed bump or some other kind of traffic measure that could do that. And I want to thank you and the council members for doing a great job, because you guys have been very responsive so far. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Followed by Tim and Mayor, the floor is yours. 400 block of 30th Street.
Thank you very much to Mayor Benitez and the council. First of all, my name is Timothy Meyer, and I have been living for about the past 10 plus years on the 4,000 block of 30th Street. My wife and I have 2 children, age 6 and 8, and there's about a dozen children total on our block, plus several seniors who also sometimes have difficulty crossing the road. So this issue is something that we've been pushing for a couple of years, but we finally have a chance to have a petition in front of you. Couple points on our block of our 4,000 block of 30th Street. We are the only block on 30th Street that does not currently have traffic calming devices. There are also no crosswalks on the one end of our street at 30th and Shepherd Street. We have crosswalks at 30th and Bunker Hill. We do not have any crosswalks at 30th and Shepherd Street. Our block is a particularly wide street, which might make it a candidate to have certain types of bump outs that would try to slow down the traffic a little bit in addition to speed humps or other traffic calming devices. But it's one of the wider streets in Mount Rainier because we only have parking on one side. So we frequently will have, even when a car is pulled over, have a car just accelerate past that. Other neighbors have mentioned, or other neighbors at other blocks have mentioned the kind of frequent acceleration. One of the unique characteristics of our particular block is that we have an very awkward intersection at 30th and Bunker Hill Road, where the 3800 block of 30th Street does not quite line up with the fourth with our there is no 3900 block, but the 3800 block and the 4000 block do not quite line up. And so I've observed from my window or front porch, a lot of times cars will turn down our street and kind of act confused. And then it's like, as soon as they get past, there's a church there, a church parking lot, they will just completely accelerate, and you'll see their speed pick up by 10 or 15 miles per hour and go flying down the street. So that combination of that awkward intersection and then the wide open street really just turns our block into a raceway sometimes. One additional idea for the city, in addition, and this probably applies not only to the request for our block at 4000 block of 30th Street. One additional idea would be having the city staff work with Waze and Google to try to see if we can route cars so they're not going through the neighborhood. That's something that we hopefully our Ward 2, hopefully all representatives can work on that. I know we have a possible new Ward 2 council member who would be very interested in working on that project. And then just to quickly, I know I'm almost out of time, but I want to throw in one other hat. I'm also PTO president at Mount Rainier Elementary School, and Mona had mentioned earlier about how getting stop signs, better stop signs and signage on Bunker Hill Road in the schools. And I agree with her that we need to do something before a child gets hurt. Thank you.
Thank you. You went down like 5 more seconds. So Tim, I'm gonna tax you for next time. 5 seconds less. All right, thank you so much. All right,
Thank you.
I would say that especially the blocks on 36, the Taylor ones, right? They're like surrounding the school, so that's part of the reason. It's very heavy walking also for a lot of the youth as well. So please know that the whole council is definitely fully aware of that. We do have a comment from Meg Chesick. Oh, such a sweetheart always. Hello, I wanted to say that I support traffic calming devices at 31st and Taylor and our food forest. Thanks for hearing our comments. All right. Thank you so much, Meg. Let me see. Erman Green, do you want to make the comment or you want me to just read it? I could just read it if you want. So Erman Green, I support the changes to 36th Street. Not a fan of driving over speed humps, but they will definitely be an improvement. Definitely would like to see a stop sign at 36 and Bunker Hill. Okay. So members of the community, there's about more or less 25 plus of you guys here. Plus like obviously council, right? Is there anybody else that would like to speak on, I guess on the 4000 block of 36th Street or any of the streets at this point? So I'm going to move on to 35th and Taylor. Anybody here to speak or has not already spoken on 31st and Taylor or the 3400 block of Newton Street?
I would like to speak. I would like to speak, please, Mayor.
Okay, perfect. Go ahead and say your name, street block, and you have 3 minutes.
My name is Ricky Elwery. I live on 4000 block of 36th Street, and I've been living here for 25 years now. I really support placing a speed bump on this street and also stop sign by 36 and Bunker Hill. It will really help. So many drivers can be very, very distracted and they drive without knowing that they're on the street and where children play. As some speakers have said earlier, down the street by Shepherd Street, school children are always waiting there in the morning and after school to join their school bus. And the way I see people drove past here is alarming. It's very frightening. So I really support that you do something about it. Please, please. That's all I have to say.
Thank you so much. All right, perfect. So I have a comment they would like me to read from Elizabeth Guthrie. I also support a stop sign on 36th and Bunker Hill, as well as speed humps on 36th Street. So thank you so much for your comment. It has been read into the record. Is there any other member of the community that would like to speak on any of the other of the blocks listed here? This is just right now just for the traffic calming devices, and then I'll move on to the zone residential parking, okay? So anybody here to speak on the 3400 block of Newton, 400 block of 30th Street? Please type your name and let us know you would like to speak on this subject. Is anybody on Facebook making any comments that you need us to read, Mom Rainier, MRTV? Jared, A?
No comments on Facebook.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, so if nobody else is here to speak on the other blocks, that's fine. We'll move on to the zone residential parking for 400,000 block of 36th Street. Is anybody here to speak on that block? Alex, are you still here?
Oh, hi there. Yes, I am.
Go
Thanks.
ahead.
So yeah, I'd like to say that I support zoned residential parking for the 4,000 block of 36th Street. We have a lot of cars, particularly with Virginia license plates, who park on our street and throw their trash out the windows and cover the street with trash. And additionally, some cars over the past couple of years have been dumped and have been left for weeks or even months on end, with or without tags on the cars. And so it comes down to the fact that, you know, I have a driveway, I have plenty of off-street parking, but a lot of the people on our street don't have off-street parking. And so, you know, have to go 1 or 2 blocks to even find parking. And so we'd just really like to be able to have, you know, our limited space reserved for residents on the street. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alex. I was like, I know he's here. All right. So moving on to Mona, 4,000 block of 36th Street regarding residential parking.
Yes, I'm just here to echo everything that Alex just said. I mean, we have unfortunately limited parking on our street because there's only parking on one side. As everyone knows, it's a very small, short street. And yeah, same issue. I've seen multiple cars with non-Maryland license plates that have sat and witnessed neighbors having to roam around trying to find parking. So I'm fully in favor of residential limited parking on our street. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Mayor, I have one question on this one.
Can I just finish this last two, and then I'll hold it and then open it up to council, okay? Elias Cabrera just wants to say 34,000 block of Newton Street, Coastal Houston Speed Bump. And I have Clifton Landon, 3200 Perry Street. You have the floor, and then Jimmy, you'll go after, okay? Go ahead. Cliff? If you're speaking, you're on mute. Clifton?
If he's not around, I can.
It's, hold on, let me see. Okay, so I'm putting a poster now for Clifton. Can everybody?
Right now with the residential parking.
Melissa, can you
I
mute
do
the mic,
support
please?
this because we have paid
Oh, no,
meters
Clifton.
right around
Go ahead.
the corner. But there's often people just drive around with paid meters. They just park right in front of our house and they head over to the restaurant. And so I think it'd be a good idea to have residential parking so that people who are visiting for the restaurant are using the paid meter instead of parking in front of a house.
Thank you so much, Clifton. Jimmy, I have one more speaker. Do you have a question regarding the process, or what do you have a question on it specifically?
I just have a question to the residential 3600.
I need to speak.
There's an apartment building there. Does that include your request that the residential include the apartments or not?
So, Jimmy, because they're there, they also could get residential parking. But the way residential parking works, is it's like they have to have the registration has to be registered to the house that's in that for the residential parking zone. So definitely will include will avoid for people like that have Virginia or any other license from the state to be able to park there. And also when it comes to people that are just leaving their cars, dropping them off and leaving as well.
The question is, it would include people who are residents of the apartments in that street.
Yes.
Thank you.
Can I
Yeah,
share
it is
something,
included.
please?
So hold on one second. Because I have a speaker list, and then just add it because I had Chris Gordon to speak right before the council member spoke. Okay. So Chris Gordon, do you want me to read it? Chris, brother, 4,000 block of 36th Street, Echo Alex, not just trash, but many broken bottles and glasses. Mona apartment building has a parking lot, which is empty much of the time. And yeah, the Alex says that whole residential parking will be available to the rest of the apartment complex. It is included on them because they are, they work there, right? Megan, 4200 block of 31st Street, block submitted petition for street coming. That's much needed, especially with lots of people coming to the new Food Forest park in the middle of the block. Sorry, Megan, Nora at 4200 31st Street. Megan, do you want to, I don't know if you were here when we covered that part, but do you want to speak or is it fine with what I just read? Let me know either way, okay? Because I want to make sure whoever's here to speak gets a chance.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
What you just read is fine. Thank you. Yeah, we submitted a petition back in September of 21. Apparently got lost. And I'm sorry that I'm just joining now, but it's still a much needed thing to get some speed calming here. The petition was for 4200 block of 31st and also for the intersection of 31st and Taylor. So we still, there's big need for that. Thanks.
Thank you, Megan. So I earlier I did mention, apologize on behalf of the city. There's been a lot of turnover, and so I wanted to make sure you guys know it's apology on behalf of all of us. Whether we were fully engaged on it or not. But at the same time, I said we'll work through an email to figure out this. How your email, right? Briefly, and but it was too late to add it to this because the notice has to go out for a certain amount of time, right? So we will work on figuring out what is missing, and then we will add another hearing specifically for that, so that way they could all be close to each other when it comes to the decisions. Okay. So there was a question regarding the visitors. The way the parking works is like you could purchase 2 parking passes, and then you could also have a visitor pass, right? And so your visitor will hang the tag when they're on it, and just as much like any other one. If they don't have a tag or you don't have the tag, they could cite you for parking and residential parking. And usually it's like 2 permits that do it. It is a yearly fee that you have to pay in order to do this. And then, so I think that should be able to cover some of the questions. I will also hope residential parking will be able to, yes, it is available to the residents of the apartment complex. Correct. So they have their lot, but they also have access to be able to park. If they purchase a zone residential parking, they'll be able to also park on the street, on the zoning street, right? In terms of permit parking for 36th Street, I would like to know, one, how much the residents will have to pay for permit. Would it be a yearly fee? It is a yearly fee, and how many permits will be made available to household? So it is 2 permits per house, and then you have a visitor pass that we're trying to mitigate that one right now. How much is it? Mr. Kamali, do you know the top of your head what the amount is for each permit parking? Is it 20?
For the residential parking is $20 per cars, and the max is 2 per dwelling, and $10 for the visitors. And the visitors are allowed to park for 24 hours, not more than 24 hours.
Yeah. So I would say to you guys that in other areas, DC and other, the way it usually works for visitors is like people go to City Hall, get a pass, so that way they could get like the information tag and stuff like that. So that might be a direction we might be heading, because right now the visitor pass, it might be too open. It might not be able to fulfill the things that you want when it comes to making sure the people that are there with Maryland license plates are parked there. The other thing to remind our community that the reason why it's so important for us to have our license plates for Maryland is because taxes are collected through that help our streets, and, you know, especially for HURs and all that stuff, but also like highways and stuff. So if you have Virginia plate, you are paying taxes to Virginia and helping them. And the other thing is like it is illegal for you to have your place not changed after you move to a location after a certain time. So that's the other thing why you see cars in Virginia also do not need to pass regular emission testing. Yeah, so that's very troublesome, especially. So no matter, you know, we could be doing thousands of trees, but if we're having like cars that are with bad emission, it's just not, it's like not helping us as much. Yeah, Clifton, $20 per car, maximum 2 permits per household. Yes, and $10 per visit, maximum 24 hours. That is correct.
That's
Okay.
yearly, Mayor. I'm sorry.
Yes, 100%. So that's a yearly fee. So every year you need to submit payment to, and the department that takes care of that is code enforcement. Correct, Mr.
Code
Kamali?
compliance. Code
Code
compliance.
compliance. All right.
Mayor, can I say something, please?
Go ahead. The floor is yours.
Yes, again, my name is Ricky. Yes, I am commenting on this zoning permit. And I lived in Washington, D.C. for 5 years before moving down to Mount Rainier. This zoning permit can be very, very inconveniencing. And more especially when you think that you're trying to save yourself from people coming from outside, those people still go out and buy this parking permit and still defeat the purpose. I think the problem we're having is just because of that apartment building up 36th Street. And that started when that apartment was sold, and the new buyer decided that everyone parking in their own parking lot must have a permit. That drove the visitors that are visiting there to come to the street. So now that they are moved away, I don't think we're still having this parking problem. But if the majority of the members of the street said they want zoning, I'm okay with it. But I hope they do not regret it when the pain starts. Because you never know what, I'm telling you the truth, because I know what I went through in Washington, D.C. And for 20 some years I've been living on this street. I don't think I've had much problem with people who park, because I know this thing started just about 2 years ago. You know, and it's that apartment building that causes all these things. So I want the residents of 36th Street to think very hard before they go into inquiring more expenses in their pocket. That's all I want to say.
All right, thank you so much. And the parking, I mean, the apartments, it's just like the homes, they will have to pay the additional parking fee. If not, if they're parking the street, they will be cited if this goes through. So I want to make sure that is clear. It is a yearly fee. If you don't have your, I did realize that with one of the other streets, they did pass it, and until like one person got cited, they were like, I didn't realize I had to pay a yearly fee. I said, oh yeah, you do. That's part of getting the parking pass that you have to have in your car. All right, so I want to make sure that is clear, right? So that's what I requested in the past, and we're going to work forward to making sure that the zoning residential parking is, lists every single item that we just discussed, so that way whoever's standing on fully understand what it means. Because I know from past experience, when we passed it for other streets, they were not aware that it was a yearly fee, and there was a limitation of how many cars they could have attached to the parking zones. So if everybody has 2 cars in your blocks and they're parking on the street, it might not alleviate how much parking availability it is. So be fully aware of that, because it's happened in other streets. All right, Elise Foster, 3200 block of Perry Street. The floor is yours for 3 minutes. Up to 3 minutes.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we could hear you.
Good. Yes, my name is Elise Foster, 3200 block of Perry, and I echo what Clifton mentioned, that with the restaurants that have opened here, we've seen a lot more traffic, a lot more parking issues with the residents on Perry Street. Also along 33rd Street, that's not listed on here, but it's also an issue, especially the short block between Rhode Island and Perry on 33rd. It's all metered now. And in fact, the entire block around the Singer apartment building is metered, which I personally feel for the people who live there because there's zero parking. So all the residents of that apartment building and the apartment building across the street on the northeast corner have to find parking on Perry or further north on 33rd. So I highly support adding some zone parking options for this area. And I know that many of our neighbors do who are not in attendance at the moment, but hopefully they'll pop on if they can. But we had several signatures for it. And that is all for me.
Thank you so much, Elise. So, Elizabeth, do you want me to read the comment? I will assume yes. If not, you will ask me to, speak. So I feel strongly about adding a stop sign at Bunker Hill on 36th and adding speed humps on 36th Street. I'm on the fence about adding residential zone parking. I wonder how this will impact local gathering and family business in town. So I will tell you, you get, let's say the maximum you could have is like two permanent and one visitor. So that's your parking for even if you have people visiting. If you have like a third visitor, a fourth visitor, right? Like for the 4 parking space, then you don't have that. So it definitely it regulates it. So if your guest parks and they don't have a tag, a parking permit, they will be cited. So be fully aware that that's happened. If you have more than 2 vehicles, it definitely makes a difference. So the other thing is, like, I will tell you that we've gone a couple of times to Perry during various times, the staff has. And what we noticed, like most of the cars parked in the street, either super early in the morning, Sundays to the day, or even at night, were people that own the homes that were like in front of the parking location. So that's why be fully aware that if you are, if you have a driveway, if you're not parking in your driveway, that also creates extra cars parked in the street. And if everybody gets the 3 parking permits per household, and that's not going to cut off how many cars, you just now will have the same amount. They will have almost the same amount of cars, but now you're paying the fee for each. So you asked me, let me see. Alex asked, what is the cost for this residential parking citation? Is it 45? Kamali, is it 45 around there? How much is it?
$30, Mayor.
So the fee is $30 for the first one?
Yes.
Or just every time?
Yeah, no, after 30 days, if they don't pay, then there is, it goes up.
So I will say $30
schedule is
right
on
now.
the city's, the fee schedule on the city's website, and residents are welcome to look at it. But the fee for the parking violation is $30, the first 30 days.
So it's $30. And it says, who's responsible for enforcement of residential parking only? That'll be PD. They're the only ones that could give citations.
Yes.
So PD or parking enforcement, but PD is also
exactly.
So, but the other thing you guys also need to realize that the more zoning parking we have, it's like there's only so much PD could do. And if all they're doing is like, putting citation for residential parking, they're not dealing with whatever else is doing in the city. So if they have to make a call, there'll be safety and then residential parking on it. And some people just call and say there's a car that's been parking and has no tags, and then they'll make a note and go right. All right, so let me see. I'm sure my neighbors on 36 on this call just heard the cargo racing pass. Also, is there a line on Rainier about abandoned vehicles that might help with towing cars that have been dumped? Call police department if a car is there, so that way they'll run the place to see if it's like a stolen, missing, or any of the above. But if they're just thrown out there and abandoned, you could call if they haven't moved. Mr. Kamali, do you know how long they have it? They have Is it 48 hours if they haven't moved or 72 hours?
Yes,
What was
48 hours. I think Chief is on the call. Chief Austin, could you please weigh in?
Chief, my apologies, I didn't see you there. I could have avoided all this like random questions. Chief, what is the ruling for that? You're on mute, Chief, if you're
Mayor,
speaking.
can you repeat that again? If there's a car abandoned, is that what the question was?
If it's a car abandoned in the street, how much time does it have for people not to move it
48
before
hours,
it could
Mayor.
be towed?
48 hours, that's what I said. Yeah, 48 hours.
Yep, 48 hours. Sorry, Chief, I didn't realize you were there as I was reading
No
the
problem,
comments.
Mayor.
Okay, let me see who, okay, has any formal proposal has been submitted for residential parking? If not, has any specific person taken the lead on those requests? So there's two, in order for residential parking to happen, 60% of the residents from the block previous and behind have to sign. If it reaches a 60%, they're basically put here for us to have a hearing. So that's the reason why we are here. So that means like 60% of the residents sign, that's what they want. Okay, let me see. Part of the problem is the restaurant staff are also parking on Perry Street. The city should work with the restaurants to have a safe, convenient parking available for staff. Anybody could park on a municipal parking lot, so that is available. And then it's like, I know that that there's other discussions that have that we have brought up when it comes to like them working with either other churches or any other in order to see if they could, work between the business and the church for them to park there. But the municipal parking lot is only so big, and there, people are welcome to park there. So let me see, what's the next question? What is the cost of residential parking passes, and what will be the cost for the residents? The $20 per pass, and you get up to 2 passes for permanent, and $10 for the visitor pass, and you only get 1. And the max they could park there is 24 hours. So if they exceed 24 hours, they will be cited.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, that's pretty reasonable. Thanks, Cliff. That was from Todd. Why is the visitor pass limited to 24 hours? What if you have a guest longer? That Chief could probably go into more details into that, because what you don't want is to have like now a third car steadily there. So that's the limit. Chief, what is it? What is the reason why the visitor pass is 24 hours? Do you know? Chief Alston? You're on mute if you're talking.
My apologies, Mayor. Can you repeat that?
I said the question from the resident is, why is there a visitor pass limited to 24 hours? What if a guest is there for longer than that?
Oh, I didn't set that policy. We can look into that, Mayor and Council. That's something we can look into. Because
let me just weigh in, Chief. According to the schedule fee that we have, according to the city's code, it says that the guest can stay only 24 hours. And I believe because of the limited spaces that we have, but we always can work it out. If there is, a need to extend that, we always, can be there for the residents.
The other thing you also have to remember when it comes to the visitor pass, at this point, the visitor pass could have a Virginia license plate or DC or Ohio or Hawaii. And if they get their pass for 24 hours, they're there. The problem is like if it goes for longer, now you have an extra vehicle in the street, and that means less space. The other thing is if it's a Virginia license plate and they have a visitor pass, they, because they're visiting the city, the rules for them apply a little bit different. So that's part of the, I remember that was part of the things that it was a concern of people buying visitor pass. They just put them in on Virginia license plates and then having them there as a permanent pass. And that definitely is not gonna reduce your parking. The other thing is like, because they're visiting, right? They want to make sure that now they're not taking an extra pace when it comes to the residents that live and pay taxes in the city. So they're basically passing through instead of staying here longer than they need to be. And I'm not saying keep your guests after 24 hours, but I'm saying like that's part of the concerns.
Mayor, can I say something?
Mr. Kamali, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to just encourage everybody to go to section 13-1 122 residential parking permits. It's posted on the city's website and you can get more information over there. And I do appreciate it. And if there is any question, please reach out to the city manager or code compliance. I'm done. Thank you, Mayor. Hello. Hello, Mayor.
Sorry,
Is
Mr. Kamali.
Yes. No,
So
I'm done.
I'm gonna-
I'm finished. I was just trying to provide more information to the community.
My apologies, my mic was muted when I was speaking to after you were done.
Okay,
So
thank
thank you so much for pointing us towards that direction. And what I'm requesting, if you could please work with your team, that
Sure.
moving forward, the zone residential parking petitions have attached all these rules and regulations so that way people know what they're signing on to. Okay?
Exactly. We do that. Thank you. We'll do. Thank you, Mayor.
At least, Mr. Kamali, can you repeat the code? The other thing is like if you go on the
Yeah.
search bar for the city, you could put like residential parking and it will pop up. But what's the code, Mr. Kamali?
Okay, it's gonna be on chapter 13, section 13-122, residential parking. And if you go to section 6, you see the regulation in regards to the visitors, which is stating that the VP allows parking for a period not to exceed 24 hours.
All right, perfect. Yeah, because I think that if people are signing the forms and they see this information, they'll have more information on how to do it. Because I will tell you
Will
when
do. Will do,
31st,
Mayor.
I'm talking to the residents, but thank you, Mr. Chairman. But on 31st Street, that was one of the problems we had. Some people got cited and they came in, they're like, wait a minute, I didn't know this. I was like, yeah, we passed it because this is what you want. But you know, they got cited for parking without parking permit. And realized the other thing is like this is the thing that is, I want to make sure is clear. This is something you guys, as the various blocks are requesting. So it is up to you also to make sure that you are on point and paying your yearly fees for the residential parking, because if not, you will be cited. And I don't want you guys to get mad at me if you get cited for not having your proper tags, because I forewarned you. All right. Okay. So let me see. Is there a way to temporarily institute the residential parking process to see how it works and then put it in permanently, perhaps a year after the trial period? So that's already in motion, the parking, the visitors parking pass, right? But maybe we could work a system in case they need to be here a little longer. But I will tell you this, if you're having visitors and they're staying here for more longer than, for 2-3 weeks or whatever, that definitely will impact the parking in your block and accessibility for parking for your neighbors as well. So be fully aware of that. I have the next comment from Mona. I really appreciate this discussion on residential parking only. I think that cost and restriction may cause more issue than they will resolve. Thank you for educating us. You're welcome, Mona. All right, so I'm gonna, members of the community, as much as I love spending the time with you, I will ask if there's anybody else that is speaking on behalf of the residential parking for the 2 streets that you see right there, 4400 block of 36th Street and 3200 block of Perry Street. Please let me know. And if not, I will close this hearing and we'll update, like I said, we will update on the other part of the form that we're missing, and we could have a hearing closer to the next meeting, so that way they could all are bundled together. So Mr. Kamali could best give us information that we need, because usually contractors don't come for one little bump or 2 or 3. They come for quite a few, and also the cost is very much attached to how many we have. So we need to get our house in order so that we know what we're looking at and how to go about, but also if there's other measures that we could utilize aside for speed bump or a combination of. Mr. Kamali, the floor is yours. I see your hand raised.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I just want to, bring to everybody's attention that right now we have 4 consultants that are working on the RFP for the comprehensive study that was suggested by Council Member Luke Chesick and Council Member Jared Stolfus. So by May 26th, we're gonna select a contractor to do a traffic study. So I do appreciate the community to be a little bit patient, because I want to make sure that where we do have those implementation of the speed bumps, we want to make sure that we are on the same page with the professionals. So I want to make sure that the traffic study is going to be done soon, and then we'll be serving the community. That's one. And two, I want to bring to everybody's attention that regarding the speed bumps, I don't have any petition for 31st and Taylor. According to the city's code, we need to have 60% of the signature. I'm sorry if they have turned it in. It was not in my time. As a city manager, I need to have those in order to present it to mayor and council. Then mayor can call a public hearing for that. Regarding the residential parking, I want to let you know that, Mayor, the 32 block of Perry, the code compliance, when I received the petition, I have given it to code, and code was not able to verify those signatures because we have to verify the 60% signature of the block. So I do appreciate if the resident can, just email me, and I'll be glad to work with them in order to get the 60%.
Okay, perfect. Mr. Kamali, that also will give us time to get to schedule the other hearing for the other street and get the verification of the ones that we need. Okay, so if you're here for 3300 block of Perry Street, can you email us? No, it's supposed to be. We're hoping to do it this summer, Alex. So can you please email council, and if you could help us reach the neighbors to sign it so we could verify their signatures, it will make us move this portion a lot faster. For the street permit, I think it's a different study than the speed bump. So the contractor, Mr. Kamali, can you clarify, is this a consultant to do the traffic study?
Yes, that's the traffic study that council members and mayor asked me to do, the comprehensive study for the street and sidewalk, redesigning our sidewalks. So I put the RFP out last week, and the deadline for the RFP is to receive the proposal is going to be May 25th. By May 26th, I'm going to open the proposals, and then I will share the information with mayor and council to select my consultant and move forward in order to complete this study for the traffic calming devices, lowering the speed, and other traffic study that will impact our residential areas.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Kamali. So Alex, the study is gonna, you heard Mr. Kamali, they're working on getting the consultant and ready, so that way we could move forward with it. So the steps towards getting the consultant and getting the plan read, so that way we could best have an approach to this are moving through. Okay. All right. So hope we don't wait years for a conference. No. The idea is to have it in this summer. Mr. Kamali, once you select, hold on, Luke. Once you select the consultant, right? How much time are they proposed to do the study?
Well, it depends. I just have to have a meeting, and then I will definitely let the mayor and council and the community know that how long it's going to take to complete that study.
All right, perfect. And I have Cliff that has a question. Luke, is this regarding Clifton asking a question? Is it something separately to Mr. Kamali?
It's a question for Mr. Kamali.
Go ahead and ask Mr. Kamali, and then Cliff, I'll answer your question right now so we have clarity. Go ahead, Luke.
So, I think there's a tension here between the traffic study and doing this holistic plan and residents who really need these traffic calming devices sooner rather than later. So I think one of the concerns that was expressed earlier was that we don't want to wait a long time for necessarily traffic calming devices to come to these areas. And I know that's on the mayor and council to make a decision on. would it be possible in conversations with the consultant to talk about, hey, we already know at these locations residents want traffic calming. Can you look at these four, fashion some solutions maybe there, while we also look sort of holistically? So we're kind of working on parallel tracks. I want to be clear. On that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Look, definitely we can do that in order to expedite, this information. Definitely that's it's going to be on my priority, and it's going to be on my radar to work on those blocks that are really in need right now. Definitely, we can do that. We can do that.
Thank you.
I think that part of this, I just want to make sure this 100% agree. So the study is going to be doing, because there's certain things, Mr. Kamali is going to look into what potentially could be done, either as temporary or permanent, while we get the study done, to be able to alleviate. Like one of the residents mentioned, like either like the solar panels where like the cross, X, B, and C, right? Some things that could be done temporarily as we get the study done to be able to address some of the issues could be taken into consideration to move it faster. And in some of them that will have to be like done because there's nothing else to do but that, then, they could move up as well. So there has to be various ways we could be able to address temporarily and permanent, okay? Without having to wait for the whole traffic study to continue, to arrive, okay?
Definitely.
Definitely like either like what's it called? How the C has those like walk little signs like right in the middle of the street, so you're forced to go through it, or like the solar one that like reads your speed and things like that. All of that we should be able to look into to figure out what measures we could place in certain locations as we're getting the traffic study. And if nothing could be done but the bump, because that's where we're gonna land anyways, and it's fine. I know Tim mentioned the bumps in the gardens potentially at his street because it's a wider street. That's something to look into as well. Okay, perfect. I think so. Cliff, I know you mentioned is okay, so that covers your clarification. Perfect. So members of the community, thank you so much. I'm gonna go one more time around to council to see if they have any questions or comments before I close this down. So Jimmy did excuse himself because he had a prior engagement, and he was here for as much as he possibly could, and he was able to hear all the information. Oh, I apologize. Todd, you have your hand raised. I cannot always see you. So Todd, you have your hand raised. We'd like to add anything before I go to council.
Oh, sure. Thanks for calling upon me. And thanks a lot, Mayor. I really appreciate you, Mr. Kamali, and everybody coming together to help us out. Really appreciate you guys, and making sure we get to a consensus is great. I just wanted to express that it is important. Sometimes we'll have family. I know, especially during COVID, we've had people that have come and stayed with us when other members of their household had gotten COVID and they were trying not to get it. I just wanted to I know it may be difficult, maybe, I don't know how difficult it is, but it would be great if there were some option to have guests be able to stay for a longer period. I know in DC, if you have a guest, you can go to the police station and get a temporary pass for, it's like 2 weeks or something like that, which is a reasonable amount of time, but you can't renew that again and again and again. So I just, personally, I like to, we have like, extra beds in our place, and we like to be able to take care of people that are in need in our community. And so sometimes that means having, somewhere to park. It would be, and I know other members that we've been chatting, some other members who live on Perry Street have been talking about that too. So just wanted to express that. Thanks a lot, everybody, for having this meeting.
Thank you, Todd. And that's something we could definitely look into, especially for like to have like a registry, more or less, if it says like, I need, can we please extend this car, the information, but it'll go to the same, basically as the residential parking. That could be an option, like registration, insurance, tax. So that way we know that's going to be here for 2 weeks, right? And that's something that, Mr. Kamali and Chief could definitely look into to figure out how we'll be able to mediate, but be fully aware that if we do that, if that becomes a new norm, that might mean that that would be more cars in the street if everybody institutes that as well. So it might not resolve your issue with how many cars are in your block. So be fully aware of that, because we got to Perry at various times, and the place where we're attached to the residents. So I want to make sure there's no Some of the ones that are not residential will move, but I'm not sure how much of those are, because you guys also have 2 apartment buildings in those corners. The artist loft, one of the lofts right there, right? And also the Mankitti building, the Singler building right behind us, well, that has X amount of units as well. So we'll figure out how that works. But we'll keep all that in mind. And the thing is, like, a lot of it is like, we'll try to work what that new reality looks like and how we're able to, set new parameters to be able to like help and meet our residents where it needs to be. Okay. So I thank you guys for all the feedback. And I will read the last 2 comments. Okay, thank you, Maritas, for clarification. Then you have Alex for thank you, Mayor, Council, Mr. Kamali, Chief Austin, for having this meeting and listen to our concern. Okay, Council, I am gonna open up the floor to you if you have anything else to add. I'm gonna start with Luke, followed by Jared, and then I'll close it up, and then I'll ask for a motion for adjourn. Luke, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to appreciate everyone else and coming out and letting us know where they really want to see traffic calming devices around the city. We're going to do our best to, make this happen. I think there's been shared interest expressed by the mayor, by everybody on council, to try to see something happen. It's just a question of, making sure we do it in a professional manner, and then finding the money, which, that's our problem. And we'll figure out how to do it and hopefully not have to wait too long. But we just appreciate everyone's patience, because those 2 action items do take some time to get done. So appreciate everyone's patience and appreciate everyone coming on. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Luke. Jared, anything else to add?
Yeah, just some really quick. I just want to thank everyone else for coming tonight and sticking through the meeting, and also the budget hearing that we needed to have at the beginning too. So really, budget reading, sorry, not budget hearing, that we needed to have. So I appreciate everyone coming, giving their feedback. And I just want to thank you for, your passion and your thoughts on this. Traffic safety is very important to me as well. I think I mentioned to folks, but my grandparents were killed when someone ran a stop sign, probably about 25 years ago. So I think a lot about what could be safer, what we can do to improve our streets. As Luke had mentioned, or Mr. Kamali mentioned, Luke and I had introduced into the budget a proposal to a comprehensive traffic study. We want to make sure that we do this right. We don't, by putting things in one place, we don't unbalance traffic flow into other neighborhoods, into other streets. So we really want to make sure we look at this like holistically, and that we make the right investments, not only putting a traffic control device, but having a long-term plan for doing the best possible approach, especially with our with the resources we have available, both in the city or the resources we could get, like from the state or the federal government through the infrastructure bill. And so that's one reason we really wanted to have a proposal, a study for the city, is that we can really take that and go forth with being able to ask the state or the federal government for what we need. As Selena has mentioned, our budget is, we are a very small city with a very limited tax base. We have a very small commercial tax base, and most of it's residential. And as we mentioned, we've been trying to keep, instead of essentially growing the city's budget, we've been reducing the tax rate. So what that means is that we need to go look at outside opportunities. And what that means is that we need to have a professional and well-done study that's comprehensive, that, goes and asks at scale for the things that we need. So just wanted to thank folks again for coming out today and speaking on that. And then also both to Mr. Kamali, Chief, and others for talking through the parking permit issue. I know that's, I know everyone may want permits on their street. It does, as we mentioned, create some challenges once implemented that folks might not have thought about. And just want to make sure folks are aware, of the limitations and the things that may come as a result of having parking permits. I do also want to make sure, as Selena mentioned, our PD is, our police department is going to be working on those enforcing permit that does pull them away from safety, and we want to make sure that what we do makes sense in terms of taking away police time to do block enforcement, and what we put in that works for residents, but also doesn't invite like say parking placard abuse, visitor permit of parking abuse that ends us back up in the same place. So thanks again. That's all I have, and I really appreciate everyone coming out tonight.
Thank you so much, Jared. So members of the committee, thank you for joining us today, and we'll gather some information. And as we mentioned, we'll look into the other part of the traffic calming device that was mentioned. Once we receive the email from the residents, if you are on the 3200 and 3200 block of Perry Street, you guys could always we haven't verified your address or your signature. You can always reach out to our city manager, so that way he's able to help confirm with his team. Okay. Saying all that, have a great night, and thank you for joining us tonight. And council may have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Seconded.
Seeing that it's being moved and second by the other members of council. Any objections, abstentions? Hearing none. This hearing has been officially adjourned. So thank you so much for everybody that was here tonight, and have a great night. And please tune in Monday, 7 p.m. We are going to be having our swearing in of our Ward 2 council member. So we'll see you there virtually. Take care. And thank you, staff.